Starting a business can be overwhelming, and a great way to make it simple is to go step by step. The Dot Online Business Academy offers simple, easy to follow, and completely free courses to help you find a business idea, create a business plan, build a website, and more. The short videos, bonus activities, and resources give you everything you need to take your business up and running. Hosted by industry experts such as Ryan Foland, Jason Falls, and Kim Gast, these courses also come with interesting activities and exciting prizes. For more information, visit academy.get.online. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Jeff Buller Show. Today I have with me Dennis Williams. Now, Dennis is currently living in the northern part of the west coast of the USA, just south of Vancouver. I'm here in Sydney, and it's great to have a chat on Zoom when we really can't travel much at the moment globally, so which is very frustrating. But a little bit about Dennis. Dennis is the creator of the transformational finance application called CashMap, which shows you how to pay lenders the least amount possible using the same system banks use to make money. In other words, Dennis's app helps you save money and make money at the same time. So Dennis has worked, having worked in the mortgage business, he saw firsthand how the financial system profits off consumers' financial ignorance. And he's on a mission to change that. Now, Dennis helps people understand how banks use their money to make money and how we can take advantage of that same methodology to create personal wealth through leveraged debt. So I'm looking forward to finding out, Dennis, your secret sauce to our listeners today, and look forward to finding out what CashMap is all about. Welcome to the show, Dennis.
Oh, I thank you, Jeff. Enjoy being here.
So, Dennis, what got you into creating CashMap? So it's your creation, it's an application, and also a service to help people save money using the secrets that the banks use to make money from you. So how did you get into this?
While I was running a mortgage company about 12 years ago, a account manager from one of your big banks, Macquarie, dropped by and proceeded to pose the question as a part of their training program to our loan officers, and that was, how would you like to show your clients how they can pay off their mortgage in half the time without changing their spending, and the interest rate doesn't matter? Now that just stopped me dead in my tracks. I figured there's just something didn't sound right. And what I ended up doing was pulling out my Excel worksheet, started to play around with it, and quickly learned that what they were saying was true, but it was counter to everything that we know here in the US.
Right.
And from that, I ended up creating a training program for our loan officers so that they could bring the customers into their prospects into our conference room. I would do the training, and then they could close a deal. Long story short, recession hit, Macquarie pulled out of the market. I was still intensely curious. I showed it to friends back home in Hawaii, and they were so impressed with seeing this little tool that, or concept that is not widely known. They volunteered funds for me to develop an application to take to the market.
So tell us a little bit about how that, well, before we actually get into how that process works and how you help people, maybe give them a bit of structure. One of the interesting things I found in the information that you sent through to me was why budgeting makes you feel poor. I'm very interested in that because there's all these online gurus saying, here's how to do budgeting and this is going to make you rich. So why does budgeting make you feel poor? I'm interested in that insight that you've shared.
Oh, I can't, numerous times in which I have approached friends in which they've kind of turned up their nose with budgeting. And here in the States, there's a guy who has a quite famous radio show called David Ramsey, where he's literally puts cash in envelopes. And once you take the cash out of the envelope, you're done. And just as I've spoken with people over the years, people look at budgeting as taking away from enjoying life today. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of it's a mindset of scarcity. And so, and frequently what I have found in families has been, there'll be there'll be one individual who's the saver and the other one who wants to enjoy life, and they clash.
Yes.
And what I learned was, because I had a neighbor who actually approached me once to want to get a name for a credit counselor, and I said, why don't you drop by my home? And I asked him a question. I said, so tell me, in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, tell me the events that you're looking forward to in life that'll bring you the most joy. That if you aren't able to do it, you're going to kick yourself in the bum. And I asked them, had they ever done that before, individually or as a couple?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, no, we've never done that. Now, before I had them do that, I proceeded to give them suggestions on what they might be able to do in order to get themselves back on a proper footing. And every single item I suggested, they said, no, got to enjoy life. No, can't do that. No, can't do that. Once I sent them to their corner to think about what are the things that would bring them the most joy, 10 minutes later, they came back and they started suggesting some of the same things that they had just rejected 15 minutes earlier.
Right.
And so the whole idea is it's really two concepts. First one is, now you're bringing your future into your present. So I'm not actually telling myself no. I'm actually now, when I look at the little shiny trinket that might be appearing because I have cash in the bank, I'm saying, well, am I willing to buy that now versus these joy events that I'm looking forward to that I might have to postpone? And when it's put in that context, even for the spender in the house who will tell the saver, all you want to do is save, but you never tell me what we're going to do with the money. Now all of a sudden I have a purpose.
Right.
And it transforms their relationship and their ability to manage money.
So, what were some of the things that people have said to you over the years about what brings them joy? Because this fascinates me too, in terms of we go, I'll be happy when I've bought that car, bought that house. So, what are some of the interesting things that people have shared with you? Going, okay, so when I get to the end of my life, what will I reflect on? Going, wow, I didn't do this, this, and this, or I didn't live this way, or design my life to bring me joy. What are some of the things that people mention that bring them joy?
I believe it or not, you're going to be surprised. There's a commonality that just comes up over and over again. The biggest one is having more time to spend with people that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to take that vacation to go visit somebody or spend more time with them. That's probably the biggest driver that I see that comes back all the time.
In other words, don't get so busy working that you forget that one of the biggest happiness or joy points is actually sharing experiences with loved ones and friends.
Exactly.
Yep.
And of course, from that, you'll hear, oh, I want to retire early, or, you'll also hear, I want to be able to fund my kids' education. But the thing about being able to spend more time or being able to take more vacation time to go visit family, that's by far the biggest one that regularly comes up.
Okay, I totally agree with that. I love having dinner with friends or family where you're joking, you're having fun, maybe sharing a glass of wine, and for me it's almost like an endorphin rush. It's just you feel so joyful sharing experiences with people, sharing life, and yet we quite often chase the shiny baubles instead of the experiences.
Yep.
So let's have a little look at CashMap and how it helps people achieve joy, because that's really what it's about at the end of the day. And I'm talking about joy from a really deep space, not just fleeting joy. So what are some of the things that what's the process with CashMap? How does it help people? And maybe give an example or the steps.
Well, the biggest thing that people don't even think about, because I'm saying this just just from a knowledge perspective, is that um, number one, our banks are they make their money by collecting interest.
Mm-hmm.
So and and they're very clear over the definition on how to do it. In Australia, it's probably the sum of the daily interest charge for the month.
Mm-hmm.
But in the US, it's what's called the average daily balance. Now, so all that we're doing with CashMap is basically saying when we get paid and we have it put in our checking account and it sits there doing absolutely nothing until we pay our bills, we are missing out on a phenomenal opportunity to put our money to work that on a compounding basis just will accelerate getting rid of any debt. And by being able to do that, you're able to accelerate growing your savings. And I might even add, you can even use the strategy to use leverage to boost how much you save to get ahead. So that's the first principle it's based on. And so the simple concept would be, and I'll ask you this question, if you could find a bank to pay you 20% interest in your checking account, how would you manage your money?
You'd be putting money into the check account.
You put your money in as quickly as you could, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the higher you can keep that balance every single day, the more the bank is going to pay you, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second question I would ask you is, when are you going to take money out?
Mm-hmm.
If you got to pay your bills, when are you going to pay your bills now?
Well, if your interest, well, this is talking about using it like credit cards and so on.
No, I'm not trying to trick you. It would be, if you want to keep the balance high, you would schedule paying out your bills to the last day that the bank uses to calculate what they're going to pay you for the month.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay my bills, if it's for the monthly cycle, I pay my bills as close to the 29th or 30th of the month as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I would be maximizing what the bank pays me. Well,
Okay.
using a line of credit, number one, with a line of credit, we have the beauty of it being, we're being charged simple interest versus a credit card where it's compounding. And that same concept that or putting it really simple, Jeff, who here wouldn't want a loan at 1.5% or 2% interest?
Exactly.
Right? So what we're doing is we're putting income to work so that you're on your own you're creating a low interest loan to pay off all your debt at a rate the bank would never give you.
Okay, so I think one example you used, which was really well, we had a little chat before, was the credit card. I think that was a great example to show, because a credit card is going to charge you 24% for all outstanding balances.
Yep.
And it's compounding every day.
Yep. And so using that example, in North America here, the average credit card debt was running about $6,849 at 24%. And if you had a household that after they paid all their bills, they only had a couple $100s left per month. So they're running a tight budget. And if they pay the minimum allowed by the credit card company, which should be about $138.98 roughly, they're going to pay, it's going to take them 45 years to pay off that credit card and pay $67,000 in interest. Horrendous. But instead, if they just simply got, even if they got a line of credit, a personal line of credit at 24% and paid off that credit card, they would be able to pay that off in 2 years and pay a total interest of around $560 total. And how? Every time they get paid, just like what we mentioned in that example about getting paid 20% interest on the checking account. I'm going to take my income and put it into the line of credit. What does that do? It lowers the outstanding balance.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to reschedule when I pay my bills, so that when I have to pay my bills, now I'll take my cash, put it back in the checking account, and I'll use my money. And by doing that, I dramatically pay less interest. And by paying less interest, I can pay off the debt faster.
Exactly.
It's a very simple move. And it takes less time for me to pay my bills every month. And of course, the sooner I can pay off the debt, now just imagine having $67,000 that you can have to invest, and what you can now do with that before it was a donation to the bank's bottom line.
So that's it. Yeah, because one of my strategies is I pay off my credit card every month. Been doing that for, I'd say, nearly 10 years. And that way then the credit card companies hate me because I basically get 55 days of free credit. Because if you pay it off in that sort of like 30 plus 15, you get 45 days of free credit. But the banks have got another way of getting you on those sort of things, which is they'll have an annual credit card fee. I don't know what that's for, but that's another way they make money. But so in other words, you can get credit cards that don't have those annual fees. So what you're really saying is be smart about how you use your money, because if you don't do what you're saying as strategy, you're effectively going to be paying $67,000 that you could have used to buy a house. That's a deposit for a house.
That's right.
Or go on maybe $6,000 holidays. So, and there's the thing, and sharing that with a friend or partner. So with CashMap, tell us how that works in terms of, do you subscribe to it on a monthly basis, and what do you get when you buy the CashMap app platform services?
So CashMap is available both in the Apple Store as well as on Google Play.
Right. Yep.
So it's on both platforms, available on the iPhone as well as on the tablet. And so the lowest cost is $15.99 a month monthly subscription. And at this point, you can buy it for lifetime for $249. One-time purchase. You're done. You get upgrades, and because my goal again is I really want people to begin to understand, by making a few small changes in the way they manage their cash, they can dramatically see the impact. So the first thing that you're going to do is, again, I don't ask people to budget. There are so many great budgeting tools out there. So I'm not asking anybody to budget. I ask them instead to simply say, plug in what you're currently spending this month. Let's just start with what you're currently spending. And even if you only have $100 left, let's see what we can do with $100 left after you pay your bills. And so you then move to the next step in identifying the date that you pay your bills. Mm-hmm. And then to get a sense of just the power of compounding and the amount of money that's going to run through your hands, you then tell the app what kind of increase you think you're going to get over the next few years. And for most people, I'll say a 2% raise. And with that 2% raise, how much of it do you think you're going to keep? So I'll say keep it conservative, 10, 15, 25%. You plug that in. Mm-hmm. You then, if there are loans that you have that you know, like a car loan is going to get paid off, you put in when is that going to get paid off, and so it'll give you this 15-year forward picture of what you can expect to have after you pay your bills year after year. The next step is to say, well, how much are you going to put aside for savings? What percentage are you going to put aside? And what are you going to earn on your money? You plug that in. And then lastly, you identify the loan you want to get rid of.
Mm-hmm. Of course, that really
And
one of the
the
highest interest rate.
Yeah, exactly. Highest interest rate. And then you put in what your line of credit, what kind of interest rate do you think you would get on it? And then CashMap comes back and tells you, here's how quickly you can pay off this debt. Here's the date it'll be done. Here's how much interest you'll save. And usually it's a minimum of $50,000. I've had cases with people that it's over 200,000.
Wow. Okay.
And then it shows the date it'll be paid off, and then it'll show you what your savings growth will look like over the entire course of what that loan would be. So if it's a mortgage in the US, it's 30 years. It'll show you, here's the conventional, if you keep doing the way you're doing it, and here's what the power of making this small change in the way you manage your cash, how much faster your savings will grow. And the difference is usually a minimum of $500,000. It's not unusual at all for me to see scenarios that it's like 1 million, 1.5 million. And people see this, their eyes just get big. And then the next thing they do, Jeff, that's really cool is they'll say, okay, well, this is my current spending. Well, what if I was to increase my income? I was to get another job, or I had this side hobby I want to do. What if I was to add another $500 a month to what I do? And I'm not really that tight over the way I spend my money, but what if I just cut back a little here? Well, they can save what they're doing. They can create another scenario, and then they can see what the impact would be by them making changes. And so they can create as many scenarios as they want and see the impact. And when people see that, their eyes just light up. They didn't know it was possible. And it's just exciting to see just the realization that they have more control over managing their cash than they ever thought.
So your goal, obviously, is to provide financial freedom for people that they can see a roadmap and milestones of what if scenarios if they earned a bit more money, or if they, and also to give them a guide. So in other words, you're not budgeting. You're really just providing a roadmap of different scenarios. Well, and outlining and making it quite simple for them to see. If you do this, you will save X, or if you increase your income by creating a side hustle, for example, you will be able to save $500,000 over your lifetime. And I suppose that's why people's eyes light up.
That's exactly right. People have come back to me and they've actually said, this is a budgeting app, but it's empowering. I get excited about when I play with this because I had no idea I could do this.
Yep.
So the other side of the coin is that when I originally built the application, I built it to kind of be self-sustaining, but the feedback I got from people was they said, I'm really not comfortable with a line of credit. I'm really not comfortable talking to a banker. When I talk to my bank, they talk over my head. We need somebody to guide us through this whole process, to even as relates to helping us define what really makes us happy. And if we say we're going to create a plan going forward, how do I do that? How do I set little daily goals in order to get there? And so because of that, I created an 8-week coaching course and actually walking them through all the principles so that they can do one step at a time. And it also includes lifetime coaching in which people can call in. most people's questions are very similar. So I'm looking at building a community in which people learn from each other,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a sense of being guided. And so that's the second product that I ended up creating, to coach people, guide them through it.
Okay, so you're basically providing them with a resource to provide those milestones, outline the milestones and steps, making it very clear for them. And then the other side is going, we're going to hold your hand as well through coaching if you require it.
Yes, and I would say the people that I personally pulled to talk to about it, 10 to 15% of people have said I can do this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say another 5 or 10% said this is too different. I'm not even going to try. It
Yep.
scares me.
Yep.
And then the remaining group says I need to be coached.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've created, is a coaching course.
Okay. I think what you're doing is fantastic. A lot of people just basically almost go into denial about finance, too hard, it's too complicated, and bury their head in the sand, and consequently the bank's ripping them off because the bank's playing the game and they don't know how the game's played, and you're revealing how the game's played and then going, we've got the tools to help you do that, and we create a community that helps look after you as well, which I think is fantastic.
So Jeff, you just hit on a really good point, because when I talk about this, people say, oh, this sounds really complicated. And so here's my two questions that I ask people for their skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any problem depositing money into your account? No. Okay. That's skill number one. Know how to make a deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any problems knowing how to make a withdrawal? Nope, no problem there. And great. That's all you need to know how to do. Make a deposit, make a withdrawal, and pay your bills like you normally would. We're just teaching you the power of compounding, the power of timing, so that it works to your benefit, and you're in effect duplicating the same strategy banks use to make money.
Yeah, I think that's very cool. And what I love about it too is you're providing a roadmap that allows people to identify their priorities and pay off the right debt and the right bills that save them money, instead of just blindly, heading into the future, paying banks lots of money. I think that's fantastic. So, and it sounds very simple and it's great. So, Dennis. Dennis, what is how can people find you to actually get in touch with you, to sign up to the app, to do the course? Where can they find you? What's the best contact?
Well, my website is www.cashmapapp.com. And what I do is twice a month, I conduct a free live, again, I'm going to underline live, webinar. It's question and answer. Mm-hmm. People can also go, and so they can book to attend that. They can also book a time with me, 30 minutes, at bookatimewithdennis.com, mm-hmm. in which you'll get my calendar, in which you can book time to chat.
Awesome.
And so I'd love to be able to do that. And I'm not interested in selling anybody, but rather just helping people understand a phenomenal opportunity that can transform their life.
And I think that's. I was reading a little bit about your what you're passionate about is about creating win-win creation, seeing people grow, and acting with integrity. And I think there are three great, passionate values that you have, and to help people. And see them grow, and I think that's what you're doing. So for my readers, what it is cash, CashMap, cashmapapp.com, if you want to contact Dennis, and make your life a lot simpler and more joyful by being able to spend it on the things that matter.
and smile the whole time.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Dennis. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and look forward to if I'm in your neck of the woods, visiting you in the northern west coast of America, and catching up and have a chat. That'll be fantastic.
I would love it. Look forward to seeing you.
Okay, Dennis. Have a great evening, because it's evening there and it's morning here. So have a great evening, and thank you very much.
Thanks again.
Starting a business can be overwhelming, and a great way to make it simple is to go step by step. The Dot Online Business Academy offers simple, easy to follow, and completely free courses to help you find a business idea, create a business plan, build a website, and more. The short videos, bonus activities, and resources give you everything you need to take your business up and running. Hosted by industry experts such as Ryan Foland, Jason Falls, and Kim Gast, these courses also come with interesting activities and exciting prizes. For more information, visit academy.get.online.